the next stage of the Delage trunk lid area that we have to correct in order to fit the trunk lid properly. In review, the trunk floor was raised up to allow the trunk lid to latch. The side wood was replaced and all adjusted correctly to fit the fenders and the side panels on both left and right. All the gaps are good, everything works. Now we have to correct the upper trunk lid area. It is bent here and some dents at the hinge mounts, also at the other hinge mounts. There's also a hole here on the dorsal fin. This was due to the previous hit. When they straightened it, they actually ground the fin a little too far. I'm going to have to put a section in here. The inside of the trunk wood is hardwood all the way around. Also, it is steel laid over top, and the skin is hammered and dollied over top of that. We have damage here, some splitting where the hinge mounts are. And we have some damage here and splitting where the hinge mounts are. This damage here, I'll have to weld up the splits and hammer it straight. I can dolly it out with a spoon, a thin, basically pry bar in behind the hinges to straighten, and dolly on the outside to straighten the outside of the lid. There's also some damage here where the hinge is mounted to the rear panel, the rear upper panel, on both sides. So these dents have to be taken out. The center gaps here are too tight, but the corner gaps are good. 1/4 inch in the middle, right here it's an 1/8, 3/16, varying gaps because this panel is not stable. This is a steel lip made separate that tucks underneath this rear panel. Also, it's nailed in, this panel here gets nailed into wood framing in behind this. This outer lip here is rusting through. And this corner here is also rusted on the lip. Looks good up further. There's a good gap here to the trunk lid, but this whole panel is loose. Same on this side. We also have some splitting here and here. This bracket goes underneath here to support the hinges, which support a very heavy trunk lid, at least over 100 pounds. And underneath this here is also wood beneath this to support the bracket. The right side is similar. This is dented, but there's no wood underneath, which is to support the bracket. And the bracket is a little bent and somebody's tried to slot out the holes. Here is the wood underneath the left rear hinge. That wood will have to be removed to straighten the panel that's bent above it so the hinges sit properly. There's a large steel brace that goes right across here over top of the wood behind the lip. So when I want to weld all that, I should have to take the wood out. This is critical also to hold the roof fits to the windshield and the door gap fits, along with the rear trunk sides, which I already corrected. So this is not a simple job. I'm going to try and get all this apart and the wood out, and then I'll go from there. I'll do a video on that next. Please like and follow.